the screen of what we're going to be talking about today, and that is really getting your business started. Now, we've kind of taken an approach here that we've kind of thrown a pretty wide loop here on actually getting started in basically any business, because you would need to look at all of these different options as we'll go through today. So hopefully you've got your pens and paper ready. You might want to take some notes. For those that are actually on the call today, we're going to show you how you can ask us some questions, and we want you to ask us questions throughout our webinar today. But as you can see, again, we're actually going to talk about starting your business, and again, whether it's in medical billing or whether it's another some type of other business venture that you might want to get started in. But again, before we get started, again, let me introduce myself. My name is Eric Sham, the Director of Research and Development here at American Business Systems. And the fun thing about it is we are constantly working our research and development from every angle that we can think of, from the revenue side to the billing side to the electronic medical record side to all aspects of the business. So we really do have some great things coming up for even our licensees and for those that are looking to get into the business here pretty soon. We want to make sure that you're hearing us. So there's a lot of people that have been on past webinars, so you kind of know what we're going to ask you to do here. But for those that are for the very first time, we're going to ask you that you click on that little icon of a hand. That kind of gives us the indication that you're hearing us loud and clear. So I see Pratap, you're there. Good to see you. Beth, good to have you. Let's see, Richard, good to have you. Sid, Tyrone, Rick. There's a Patrick there, a Melody. Looks like we've got some other folks. Edith, if you're there, hopefully you can hear us. Donna, Josie, Julie, Linda, Lynn. Got a great crowd coming in. And so, folks, again, thanks for raising your hand there to help us let us know that we're hearing you okay today. Also, if this is your first time ever to be on one of our webinars, we want to invite you to ask us questions. So also in that little go to webinar control panel, you'll see down there that little area that says questions, and you'll see type questions here. So if you've got questions now that you want to start entering, Patrick and I will be monitoring those questions throughout the webinar today. So please just start asking your questions there as we kind of get started. But again, for those that have never been on our webinars, first time ever to listen to one of these webinars, if this is a recording that you're listening to, we want to tell you who we are, give you just a kind of a glimpse of the insides and outs of American Business Systems. So basically, we've been a company that's been around for 20 years offering these services that you see here, everything from medical billing to electronic medical records to coding portions to auditing portions of it, how to help the doctor get collected. And because of that, in our last 20 years, we have been awarded several awards throughout the years. And this is one of our most recent ones from franchisehealth.com as being one of their top business opportunities of 2014. And as I've said, over the last 20 years, we've helped folks from all different walks of life and really all nationalities throughout the United States. Folks that are people that have moved in from another country to get started in a business here in the U.S., or those that have been born and raised here in the good old U.S. of A. Folks, we have been around for that long trying to help folks just like yourself and like us make a living, be able to work from home, and have that entrepreneur spirit, and then get that information out to you. And as you can see, we've got licensees clearly all over the country. And just because we have people in all these different areas of the country doesn't mean that we have saturated the market. Folks, even if we tried to quadruple the amount of licensees that we currently have, there's no way in the world that we can touch all the doctors and what their needs are for their needs of revenue cycle management. One of the things that we're going to be talking to you about is our system here, which is iClaim and EMRX, and you can see that it's on many different platforms here, whether it's just a regular PC or an Apple iPad or a tablet, and as you can notice that it can actually be run from even a smartphone as well. Again, we wanted to make sure that you're getting all information. We've actually got two major areas on the internet of which you can get information from American Business Systems. Certainly one is our website here, just our regular website at absystems.com. There you can find out about us, you can find out about the income potential, you can find out about much more things than just the normal things that you'd find on a website. But if you want to dive in more into it, a greater due diligence, so to say, you truly want to get into our virtual brochure. And folks, I cannot stress enough the information that we have out here on our virtual brochures that can certainly help you through tremendous amounts of questions that whenever you're talking with one of our licensees or one of our coaches here, one of our sales reps here at ABS, then you're going to be able to go in and get all of your questions answered as much as you need to, and especially through, again, the virtual brochure. A lot of people ask us about the Better Business Bureau, so we want to show you that we still maintain an A+ rating with the BBB here in the Fort Worth area. And for those that would like to come by and visit us here in our corporate office, we are at 5751 Kroger Drive, which is either in the Fort Worth area or the Keller area. It doesn't matter which city you actually put that in. You'll be able to find our building here and come on by and visit with us at any time. We certainly look forward to having you here and visit with you face-to-face. Let me introduce you again to our CEO and founder of American Business Systems, Patrick Phillips. He is not only just the founder, the CEO, but he's actually an author, has written a few books here and in the process of writing another. But the two that you see here on the screen can actually be purchased at Amazon.com, How to Reprogram Yourself for Success, and the Cash Crunch to Cash Flow book here that you see on the right. I want to make mention that we are only a few weeks out from our August training. So, folks, if you're looking to get started in this business and you want to hop on board and try to get beat the rush to some things that are happening towards the end of this year and going into 2015, please join us at our upcoming training here in August 11th through the 15th. And Patrick and I will be talking more about that towards the end of the webinar today. So let me bring Patrick on. So, Patrick, why don't you pop your video on there so everybody can see you, and then we're going to get started talking about how to get started in a business here, and whether it's in medical billing or any other type of business. So here he is, Patrick.
Hey, thanks, Eric. Well, folks, let me start by saying this. You guys just don't realize how much research that we put into something like this webinar. A lot of details that we're going to give you during the webinar, but don't worry. At the end of the webinar, Eric has put together a document that has a complete summary of most of the documentation that we have on the webinar today, all the statistics and facts and figures. He found it out there on the internet, the interwebs, somewhere on Google something, and there it is. And so he's created that and is going to make that available to you guys, right, Eric, at the end?
Absolutely. Absolutely, towards the end. So you just need to pay attention, and we'll show you how you can get that. So, Patrick, let's start our engines, basically. I love this graphic here. It kind of it's the modern way to get things started here. Just push a button.
That's right. Now, for those of you who are watching live, of course, we have video of me and Eric up at the top of the screen there. So I just wanted to show you that actually a lot of the data details that we got out of this webinar is off the internet, of course. And then this is a book by Entrepreneur Magazine. They've been around for about 30 years, and they have a terrific book here called Start Your Own Business, the only starter book you'll ever need. So a lot of details in this. For people who are just, generally in general wanting to know how to start their business. But I found a quote here that I think we would share with people, Eric, that's from the Healthcare Billing and Management Association. Why don't you kind of read some parts of that?
Yeah, and folks, the HPMA is a major organization in healthcare billing and management. And here's some of the quotes that we've come up with, and this is from their one of their head guys there. I think this might be the president, Brad Lund. He says, "At no time in medical history has there been a greater need for expertise, technology, compliance assistance, etc. There is simply no entity in existence positioned to meet these needs better than the third-party medical billing companies." And folks, that's what we're going to talk to you about today. That's what a lot of people want to know about. And I want you to remember that information because we're actually going to show you some statistics. Patrick, a lot of people ask about market research, and we've actually got some information that we're going to show you about that. But again, by leveraging their essential functionality, the third-party medical billing industry can not only be an essential cog, but can also ensure that healthcare providers have the time and resources to concentrate on their real priority, providing healthcare to the aging population.
Yeah, that's what we need. Oh, wait, I'm one of those aging population people.
I'm creeping up there too, Patrick.
So Eric has kind of said, look, why don't we just divide this into about 5 different items that we can talk about today on the webinar. And this is really a great summary of anybody looking to start a business, Eric, should be thinking about these 5 things at least.
Yeah, actually, absolutely. We're going to talk about the economy. Certainly the one there at the top middle, we're going to talk about jobs and whether job security is really anything all about it. How about the bottom corner there, work from anywhere? I mean, people want to know, we get a lot of questions with this type of business. Do I have to open up an office, a brick and mortar? And we'll answer that today. The other one right to the right of it, the franchise opportunity, franchises versus business opportunities. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit today. And then finally, medical technology. And that's where we're going to actually really get into a lot of the statistics that we have found here to help you if you're looking to get into this business that are going to be very helpful for you. So we've got up here on, as these are coming up, we asked the question here, what do these companies that are coming up on the screen here have in common?
Now, those of you who've been on the webinar before, don't say out loud, don't say it out loud, but this is IBM. You can tell from the little International Writing Machines. It was the name of the company originally there, IBM. And this is Procter & Gamble. Yes, that's Mr. Procter and Mr. Gamble. You've probably heard of them, haven't you? Any product on your grocery store shelves probably has Procter & Gamble on the back of it, from soaps to toothpastes and things like that. Of course, the original Model A, Ford Motor Company, and then this is my favorite right here, Eric. Whole House Cookies.
Whole House Cookies, absolutely.
And so what in the world could these things have in common, Eric?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, I think we say it here with this one little graphic. These companies were all started right in the middle of a recession or some type of depression here. So, folks, as Patrick loves to talk about, one of the favorite words that we discuss is the part about disruption in the economy and what that does and how that actually positions entrepreneurs. And I'm telling you, Patrick, I think so many new businesses begin because there's some little quirky thing happening either in the economy, or there's a recession, or there's possibly a depression. I mean, this is where all the great ideas actually are birthed from.
Well, yes, not only that, it's because during those times, in bad times, I guess you would call them, there's disruption. That is disruption in every aspect of our lives. So when the economy is having problems, hiccups, we're all feeling that in some way. And, of course, disruption means that things change.
Things change. And we like change.
We like change. Change is good. I have to remind all of our staff from time to time, don't I, Eric,
yes,
that that's just a part of life. It's a part of business. You have to keep up with the changes. We keep up with what's going on in this industry, the healthcare field, because things do change. The government changes its rules and regulations. The marketplace itself changes. We got all kinds of things changing right now in the healthcare field, and we'll talk about some of those things here as we come along. But when change things, of course, that means
there are opportunities.
That's right.
Great
and that's a good thing.
Exactly.
Every change that's come along, and in fact, some of those businesses we just showed, the reasons they were successful was because they took advantage of that change and said, you know what, we're going to turn this lemon into a lemonade and make it into an opportunity and grow our business during this time of change or disruption.
Yeah, and the third one is that the entrepreneurs will seize that opportunity, and that's what makes them entrepreneurs. But you know, Patrick, I'm kind of monitoring the questions here, and a question from Steve has come in. He says, it almost sounds too good to be true. What's the catch about this disruption and this part about the economy? And, really, why does that make any sort of a difference there?
Well, for me, that happened back in 1987 when my wife started doing medical billing. We had a friend who was in the medical, I guess it was called durable medical equipment company, and he asked her if she could do the medical billing for him. Well, she didn't know what a medical bill was or what he was talking about, filing claims to the insurance companies. And he was changing the way his structure of his business was set up, did not have the time to do it himself. The lady who was doing it quit. See, disruption. For him, that was a disaster because his cash flow depends on sending those bills to the insurance companies. So my wife started doing that for him, and that boomed. It got so big. We were working out of our home for many years there, began to make a six-figure income, and it changed our lives. And, of course, that was 20 years ago, so we've changed the lives of a lot of people since then, Eric, haven't we?
Exactly. And I tell you what, and we're talking about the disruptions that are happening just in the economy, but if we brought that down to the level of the medical economy, so to say, and we're talking about the doctors now, Patrick, you and I were talking the other day of really start thinking more in terms of revenue recovery for doctors instead of just medical billing.
Yes.
And that's
I love that term.
really
that zeroes right in on what this business is all about. Because when people hear of medical billing, that's been around for years and years. Well, my wife and I were doing it 20 years ago. But when they hear revenue recovery, boy, that should tickle the ears of any business owner, including doctors.
Exactly, and that's where our licensees are capitalizing upon getting the doctors, because a lot of people, certainly, Patrick, those that are on the call and listening, they have there's always a fear, how am I going to get that doctor? Why would a doctor use me? Folks, that's what we teach you, and that's what we're teaching you even here on the webinar today, is that it's not just about medical billing, it's about revenue recovery. So that's why we tell you, don't wait for the economy to change.
Right.
Go out there. The economy is changing. There are the opportunities, and the opportunity is to helping those doctors recover lost revenue.
Yeah, now one of the things you said we should talk about today, Eric, and I think this is really important because, let's face it, who doesn't know somebody, a friend or a relative, that has gotten the pink slip? That all of a sudden, here they are, 50-some-odd years old, let's say, and they're just laid off, just downsized, or whatever the term they're using nowadays, basically fired, right? So they're without a job. So people love to think of a job, a job that you punch in at 9 o'clock in the morning, you can go home at 5 o'clock. That to them is job security. They get that check every 2 weeks like clockwork. But is that real security? That's the real question.
Well, I mean, I know we've all talked to people like that that have been a part of a position, but you can see here, Duncan McPherson says, working for a traditional corporation has become now the risky option.
That's right.
And Patrick, that's not. I mean, we're singing the gospel truth here to most people that are probably on the call today.
Yeah.
Is that's what's occurred.
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't been brought into a little room at some point unexpectedly and told, sorry, we got to let you go, or at least know somebody in their family that had that happen. Folks, if it hasn't happened to you yet, it's just a matter of time. Listen, Your boss is going to keep you, and the way they want to keep you is they're going to pay you as little as possible, whatever it takes, as little as possible to keep you in that position. And then when they're through with you and they need to move on, they need to find somebody younger or somebody smarter, you're had and you're done, and that's it. That's just the facts of life.
Yeah, long gone are the days of where someone stays with a business, 25, 30 years, and, they got their pension, and, working for yourself, as Duncan has said here, really becomes the new job security. And Patrick, I have to tell you from personal experience of talking with folks on our calls, is that we certainly get to hear from people saying, hey, I just got laid off, or I'm about to get laid off, and I've been looking for another job to replace my income, and there's just none out there. For the skill level of most folks that are in their late 30s, 40s, and early 50s, and maybe a little bit older than that, and they want to keep working, the only thing to do is go out there and create it yourself.
Yeah. So why is it that having your own business, of course, working for yourself, is new job security? Because nobody can fire you but yourself, right? Even if you're not doing a good job today, you can get up tomorrow and you can look at yourself in the mirror and you can say, you know what, you need to work a little bit harder today, a little few more hours, or whatever it takes to make it. So you're not going to lose your job unless you're just not getting up and doing anything, of course, day by day. And I know a few people like that, so it happens.
Well, Patrick, don't let me forget that Sid's got a question up here that we want to talk about Obamacare. I think we could have probably talked about that a little bit earlier in the economy portion of it, but I want to come back to that. But let's continue on with this job security portion of it.
Yes.
And really, what is it? And pretty much everybody knows about Robert Kiyosaki. And he says in his book, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the number one thing people can do to increase their wealth is to start a part-time business. And folks, this can be a part-time business in the beginning because this gives you the freedom to keep working your job if that's what you're doing, and in part-time of your days, be able to go out there and market this type of business. And we actually show people how to even hire sales reps to go out there and do some of this. So, folks, this can be done on somewhat of a part-time basis as well.
Oh, yeah, we have many, many licensees, don't we, Eric? I'd say probably maybe half of our class still has a full-time job that come through our class, and we still teach them how to build a business. Now, look, I mentioned this book earlier by Entrepreneur Magazine, Start Your Own Business, and when we saw this quote here from Robert Kiyosaki, I remembered on the back, he's got an actual quote right up at the top of the back of this book here. He says, entrepreneurs enjoy a freedom few ever know. In other words, people who start their own business enjoy a freedom few ever know. Starting your own business is one of the few remaining paths to wealth. Listen to that, Eric. This guy's a multimillionaire. He says, starting your own business is one of the – are you guys writing this down? Starting your own business is one of the few remaining paths to wealth.
Right.
We're done.
We're done.
Webinar's over. Webinar's over. Okay. How about this quote here? This was great. You just found this today, didn't you?
I found this today. I was looking for information about jobs and everything else, and folks, we know that there are a lot of graduates here, and this is July the 23rd. And this is out of Bloomberg News. So, but there is an interview here, or the title of this is "Recession Graduates Grind Away with Low Pay as U.S. Men." And folks, you talk about grinding away. And so this is what new college people, graduates who have a ton of debt because of probably student loans. Nicole Gambrill is still paying the price for graduating college at the wrong time. She and other students who earned diplomas in the aftermath of the deepest U.S. recession since the 1930s are experiencing an earnings hangover that could last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Even as the labor market heals.
Yeah.
This is not over.
No, not only did they spend 4 to 5, 6 years, some people, to get a 4-year degree, they also spent thousands of dollars and went into debt for thousands of dollars. They'll be like people who own a home that they owe more on it than it's worth, right? They're underwater, so to speak.
Right.
These poor graduates, I don't know, Eric. Even that's why we've actually had a young lady come through. Remember a couple of years ago, you know who I'm talking about, right? Carla Lee.
Yep, Carla Lee.
She came through, and she had taken the money that her parents gave her for college and invested in this business. Came through, built a tremendous full-time, had people working for her. It's just amazing what people can do with this, even even if they hadn't been to college.
Well, here's the thing, Patrick, and let's get down to brass tacks here. I remember, again, whenever I went through college and when you went through college, there was opportunities for us to take our degree and actually work in that particular industry. So folks that want to become an accountant, they could find a job in accounting. For those that were in engineering, you could go get a job in engineering. For those of us that were just kind of generic, we went into business, it was pretty easy to find that. But if we took a poll today of the people that are on the call today, whatever certificate, graduate, diploma you have from your college, you're probably not doing what you go into school for.
Yeah, I've done that in our classes, Eric, and I'm telling you, it's a very small percentage. I mean, you're talking about 20 people in a room, maybe 1 or 2 raise their hand. Oh yeah, I'm actually working in a job that was in the field that I got the degree in. So very rare.
Yeah. So we're trying to say all this, whether you're going to do this as a medical billing company or you're trying to think about starting your own business, as you can see here, even with a Subway, to me this scares me because I just see liability all over because it's brick and mortar. Those are some of the things you got to think of.
Yeah, but the positive thing is you get to work with teenagers who can't even clean their rooms 80 hours a week, right? And have a complete turnover about every 2 months. Look,
well, you had a friend that did that.
Well, he wanted to make 6 figures, and so he bought a Subway shop. And remember, the first one didn't make but about $42,000 the first year, so he had to buy another one. Now he's got 3. But anyway, I can't even imagine the difference between people who work out of their home like our licensees do, most of them, versus putting the money into brick and mortar like this and hoping that people show up at your business each day.
Well, even with this, if you just kind of think about it, there's liability, there's insurance, there's a building, there's employees, and I mean, so really that's what we're trying to help you decide. Do you want to work from a home business, or do you want to kind of go in that brick and mortar? But this is a great quote that you have by one of the, what I think she's a congresswoman, but Americans need more options to help provide for their families, and the ability to work from home is an essential means of achieving that goal. Senator Olympia Snowe.
Yeah, one of the questions in the question box here earlier was, let's see, it's from Ann. She says, how do doctors react to the fact that we would be running our business from our home? I guess she's done a little research on our business and knows that most people run it from home. Well, the interesting thing is that they will never know that unless you tell them, Ann.
Right.
Our licensees are taught to position themselves as having opened a local office of the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies. We do thousands of claims every day for hundreds of doctors from coast to coast. Now, does that sound like somebody working out of their spare bedroom or from their kitchen table like this lady? No. So it's all in the way you position that. But doctors don't come to your place; you go to their place. So,
you know, Patrick, you know that sometimes I get the opportunity to do demos for some of our licensees, and they're out there doing their business and building their business. I want to actually give a kudos out for one of our brand new licensees that just came through training the week, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Her name is Melissa, and she has gone out there. Patrick, not only has she gone through training, I actually did a demo for her for a sleep center today.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you, and she's still working from her home. The doctors never knew, because we're doing this big go-to meeting, and you know, it looks larger than life. So, folks, you don't need the brick and mortar. But I also want to tell you that you're going to make this business what you want to make it when you put the effort into it. So, folks, this is we're excited for what our folks are doing here, and plus, because of the internet. Thank you. What's his name? Al Gore.
Al Gore. He invented
for giving us the internet
right.
to allow us to work from anywhere.
I mean, ours is a cloud-based system, folks. So we didn't know how to illustrate this, so we didn't want to put a picture of a cloud. So it's literally residing on some servers that we have in various parts of the country, actually redundant servers, which means several of them. So in case one goes down, the other one kicks in. But that means that you can literally connect to our servers and run our software from any computer in the world. I mean anything. There's nothing that downloads to your computer. It's all stored on our servers in the cloud, securely, backed up nightly. It's all HIPAA compliant, for those of you who know what that means. The point is, you can work from anywhere, and Eric, we had licensees, haven't we? We worked from the beaches of Hawaii. One couple ran around in an RV with a satellite connection on top of it, and anywhere you can get an internet connection, you can work.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of this. And so, you know, whether you're doing your work at home and then you take it to the doctor's office and you're doing some work there, it's tremendous. Now, Patrick, Gaston asked a question: will this system help with private insurance audits and or Medicaid audits? Well, what I'd like to answer that in brief, that it's not necessarily the system, but we actually have what's called Audit Guard as one of our services. If you've got a doctor that needs some auditing, like if they want to do like a baseline audit for their insurance, if you know what a recovery auditor contract or what's known as a RAC audit, we actually have that particular service that you can actually offer the doctors. So, but yes, in a sense, if the doctors are using our system, it will actually help them if they are ever audited, because everything is basically there on the servers already.
Yeah, and for those who none of that meant anything, let me interpret what Eric just said by saying this. Doctors are scared because Medicare can come in and audit them, and if they've been over-coding on their insurance, they're in trouble, and they can be fined thousands of dollars, can't they, Eric?
Absolutely, and some have lost their entire practices over that too. So.
Right. Hey, now, since we answered Gaston's, let's go back to Sid's here, because I see what you mentioned earlier. He's asking the question if any of the new government-mandated health care policies like Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act have any negative impact today or in the future of this program. Well, first of all, if you're really keeping up with the news, you would know that there are rulings that judges have just made that may completely take Obamacare down. That's right. They're saying by the end of Obama's administration, it could be that Obamacare is not in place because there are some serious problems. But let's assume that it goes on forever. Eric, what have we seen, and what are the positives of having a system where there's 30 million uninsured Americans coming into it?
Exactly. Patrick is 100% correct. It has not in any way negatively impacted our business. It's actually positively impacted our business, and that's from reports back from our licensees, because guess what? Those doctors, they don't know really what's going on either. And so when you become a trusted advisor, as again, when you start recovering revenue for doctors, I'm telling you, you become on a completely new level with the doctors.
That's right.
And so whenever that occurs, you will then, the doctors are going to trust you to say, what's going on with Obamacare? What can you do to help me? What do we need to do to prepare? So now you become that trusted advisor of saying, hey, from the doctor, hey, Patrick, what can I do? What can you help me do and protect me?
And really, you truly do become their best friend. You'll be invited to go out to dinner with them, to the ballpark. We've got licensees who become very close because they've salvaged a doctor's practice because they were about to go out of practice. Folks, cash flow is king. Cash is king. Well, so's cash flow in any business. And let's face it, a medical practice is a business, and they all need the cash flow. And if they're struggling to meet payroll and other things because they're not getting compensated like they are supposed to from the insurance companies, you can be the salvation of their practice, really.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Julie, you didn't lose your screen. We just kind of went to just a video presentation there with Patrick and me. So for those that may be seeing this recorded, that's what we did. So just hang in there. We're going to I think we've got it all pulled back up there. So thanks so much. All right, Patrick, let's keep going on. We're at the bottom of the hour. We got a ton of information to still go through here.
All right. So one of the things you said we'd talk about, Eric, was what are the differences between franchises and business opportunities?
You know, we've actually had that question. Matter of fact, I had an email from someone here just lately, said, hey, I see that you're advertising on franchise websites. What makes you different from franchises versus a business opportunity? So let's go with this one.
And you found that somewhere out there, Eric, didn't you?
I did. Yep.
All right, so what's the first difference?
Yeah, and this is actually, again, from Entrepreneur, their website. And if you want to just kind of Google that and find out what the difference between a franchise and a business opportunity, I just kind of pulled out three main parts of it. Well, first of all, one's the trademark. As Patrick showed you on that screen earlier, all of those little trademarks that you see there, you have to pay for the royalty to use those trademarks. Now, in some instances, that's really a good thing because people always want to know about branding. But that's the big difference between franchises and business opportunities, and it's the role of the trademark.
Yeah, and so since we have not allowed you to use our company name, American Business Systems, you establish your own company. We'll guide you and handhold you through that process. Don't worry about it. It's very simple to set up your own company. But we have private labeled our cloud-based medical billing system as iClaim, and you'll be able to use that in your business as a proprietary, unique system that's out there that does medical billing. You'll also be able to use all of our marketing materials, which have been branded, so to speak, with all of our services, and you're going to be using the names of those services, like Eric mentioned earlier, Audit Guard, there's Quick Collect, and there's Choice Pay, and there's several others that you'll be able to offer. So it makes you look like a franchise, but you're not having to pay us the royalties. That's the next thing, isn't it, Eric? The royalties, the cost.
Yeah, the cost. And here's one of the biggest differences between a franchise and a business opportunity is a retail franchise program can cost with just initial fees of $30,000 or more, with a total investment of $50,000 and above, basically. And we know that they can get into the six figures. In contrast with most business opportunities, purchase prices are low enough to put on a credit card, running from a few hundred to a few $1,000s. Now, this is one of the ways that we encourage some people to get this business started, is with the credit cards. And we've had several licensees and very successful licensees get that initial fee started with us just by using a credit card.
Hey, some of the most successful entrepreneur businesses out there, especially web-based businesses, if you hear the stories of the owners of those and read their biographies, they started it by borrowing money from friends, relatives, and from themselves by just using the credit that's on one or more credit cards. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's a pretty easy way to finance a business.
Exactly. And then this last one here is about training. And this is one of the other major differences. But most franchises are heavy on training, unlike most business opportunities. Because most business opportunities, Patrick, you get this packet or this box, and then they say, well, go to this website, and then you're going to get some training. Well, this is where we differ from that. This is where ABS takes on some of that franchise world, because our training is very extensive. Not only do we have the five live days of training, but then also we've got certainly ongoing training, and this is really where we differ. But everything that's listed there, except for that part down there at the bottom where it's kind of highlighted in italics, all of that actually came from Entrepreneur Magazine about talking the difference between franchises and opportunities.
Yeah, so we have a manual. Here's the manual. Look, this is the one that we just got through with training a couple of weeks ago. And folks, this is what we would say, Eric, is probably 250 pages that we go through during that week's training. Folks, we're the only business opportunity company that I know of that has a full week of training. You come down here to Dallas at a nice hotel. You stay there during the training, and every day from 8 to 5, 5:30 or some days, we go through all the material that you need to know, and you take this home with you, of course, and then have all that proprietary information to get your business started. So unlike a lot of things that are out there, we do it right. We train you. And like you said, Eric, we have ongoing training. We did one last week. We're doing another one this Friday. We do webinars for our licensees that you folks, of course, not being licensees yet, are not actually invited to. But ongoing training webinars, and that's all included in your licensing fee. There's no extra charge for that. It's just an ongoing thing we do for our licensees. Okay, Eric, let's move on here. Yes, you're right. We're about halfway through.
I don't know if we're not going to get through all the slides. We have to do.
Yes, we are. No, I'm moving fast.
Okay.
All right, we're done with that one. Let's go to the next one.
Here's the key advantage is that, folks, we blow out the competition whenever it comes to medical technology. And Melody, I do see your question there. Does ABS own the claims clearinghouse? And you're going to see here we actually do. So, Patrick, as you put this information up here on the screen, this is the key advantage. It's our iClaim system. It's our EMR system. It's you can see there that there is where the clearinghouse is actually embedded into the iClaim portion of it right there.
I like that little animation. That's great, Eric. Yeah. See that? Yeah. That's the clearinghouse. Inside of our system, we have our own clearinghouse. Now, folks, a clearinghouse is just a third-party entity usually that you have to send your claims to if you're using anybody else's system. And that company then has to scrub it and reformat it and send it out to all the insurance companies. We do all of that, and that's why our rejection rate is so low, because there's nobody to blame. It's all up to us if we don't do it right.
Correct. And then we have the EMR portion of it, electronic medical records, and these two go hand in hand, as you can see here. What's done on one side is actually embedded in, and it will come over here for the billing side. And if there's information from the patient demographics from the iClaim side, it actually populates and does things over on the EMR side. And clearly, this last part right here is the patient portal. Now, folks, there are a lot of companies out there that claim to have a patient portal, but let me explain this, and if we've got time today, we'll show this. But if you as a patient input that you've got a change in your health, maybe a new allergy, what that's going to happen is if you put it in that one little box down there and you update your allergies in where it says your health file, it's going to go directly into your medical record on the EMR side. Unbelievable, because all of this is seamlessly working together.
Yes, and that's why most medical billing systems out there, folks, and most doctors filing insurance claims are having 34% of those claims rejected. Now, when they come back, Eric, they don't normally even have time to resubmit them. Some of them
Right.
are, some of them aren't, but there's a huge number that are never resubmitted, so that's lost revenue for the doctor. Folks, with our system, we have an average rejection rate of less than 2%.
Right.
34% for most systems. Ours is 2%. Do you see why the doctors get pretty excited?
Exactly. And it's incredible what we can do. Now, we had mentioned earlier that the key advantages is our system. And what we're going to share with you right now is we always talk about supply and demand. Everybody in business knows about supply and demand. And what we're going to show you here, these are the stated market demands. And this is from a completely third-party company, Black Book Rankings. You can go out there to their website. You can go see everything that they do. But one of the things that you see is they do market research. So we have brought in at least 3 of the most major ones that we want to share with you. And Patrick mentioned to you at the end of the webinar today, we've actually got this in print format that you can have it. But we're going to show you 3 percentages, an 87%, an 89%, and a 42%. We're going to break that down for you. So let's first take.
These are real important numbers, folks. So if you're doing due diligence, research on this business and want to share some things with other people that you are thinking about getting involved in the business or maybe helping you with the financing of the business, very important numbers. Let's talk about the first one here, Eric.
Patrick, this is unbelievable. 87% of all physicians state a preference for a single source vendor for all RCM, PM, and EHR modules. Now, we're going to break that down and tell you what that means. Revenue cycle management, practice management, and electronic health records. And what we just showed you in a graphic just a couple of slides earlier, you saw that not only do we have all of that, but we actually have one more element in there, and that goes back to Melody's question, and that is we actually own our own clearinghouse. So if 87% of doctors are preferring a single source vendor, folks, you've got it clear, hands down. This is what's going to help you win the clients out there.
Right. All right. The 89%, what does that mean, Eric?
All physician practices agree their billing and collection systems need upgrading. Now, Patrick, we've run across several doctors still using a server-based software. Why don't you explain the difference between server-based and web-based here? That'll kind of help understand what this means.
Okay, server-based is what's sitting on your desk, your laptop or your desktop computer, right? It has a hard drive in there, and all the data is stored there. That's a server-based system. There are, believe it or not, companies who still sell software on a CD, or maybe you download it, but it resides on your computer. So guess what? If your computer is destroyed, or like the IRS had all of theirs, shredded, that data is gone forever. But if you have a cloud-based system, it's on our servers up there somewhere in the sky.
Exactly.
But it's on our servers, and through the internet, all of the data is sent directly to our servers back and forth. And of course, like I said, those are very secure servers, folks. They're more secure than any banking system that's out there. So it's been used for years and years and millions of claims. So just trust me, we back that up, and we're very paranoid about that data, just like you would be.
Right. But that's what it means by 89% of the doctors agree that they need their systems upgraded, and it's because they may be on old systems and old server-type bases.
And that's great news for our licensees, isn't it, Eric? Because they're running into those doctors who go, oh, yeah, of course I'm interested. Well, then we get them to a demo that we do for you and show it to the doctor, and you can be on there at the same time, live, just like we're using this technology right here.
Exactly.
They see the system being run live and can ask all the questions they want, and of course we give them all the answers that they want to.
Now this last statistic, this 42% of what we were talking about, look at this. Now again, this is from Black Book Rankings. This is not from ABS, but 42% of all physician practices, 1 out of every 5 doctors with employed billing staff. That means they've got somebody in their office doing billing. Hope to outsource their billing in the next 12 months.
That's right. Folks, outsourcing is the key. Doctors should not be doing their own billing. They don't wash their own windows. They don't do their own bookkeeping. If they're smart, they don't do their own legal stuff. They don't do their own transcription. They outsource a lot of things. Why wouldn't they outsource the most important part of their business, which is the cash flow? It's because they don't know who to trust. They don't know who to turn that over to, and they feel like they lost control. With our system, you can give them a login to the system so they can see the status of their claims in real time, 24/7, from any device in the world, including their cell phone.
Exactly. I actually demonstrated that today on the webinar that I did today, or the demo I did today, because that was an actual question that they asked. Well, how do we know that you're going to be doing our billing? And I was able to demonstrate that to them, Patrick, today. It's unbelievable.
So, folks, remember, this means 1 in 5 doctors with employed billing staff. That is, they do it now inside their own office. 42% of them, almost half, are looking to outsource their billing this year. Wouldn't you say that's a window of opportunity? Wouldn't you say
that's a great window of opportunity?
All right, Eric, I love this graphic you came up with here. It just kind of shows the integration of our system.
It is, and it's just kind of very simple, but it's to the point. You know, we've got the iClaim, which is our practice management system. Then we have the electronic medical records, which is entitled EMRX, and both of those are privately labeled for our licensees only. But embedded in that iClaim portion of it, we have our own claim scrubber and submissions portions of it. And then that last part over there is the patient portal, which means that the patient's medical records can be updated by the patient. Even, Patrick, if you've got some people that would like to, they can fill out their entire, everything that we would need to fill out when you go see the doctor. All that paperwork that you have to fill out can all be done from home before they ever get there.
Yeah, so let's start with the first thing there on the screen, iClaim. iClaim, of course, is one of those things, folks, that it's basically the private labeled billing system that runs in the cloud that lets you do everything. And we've got some screenshots here we'll put up so you can see them a little bit closer. But you'll notice on the right here, under the shortcuts, you've got all kinds of things there that will allow you to go straight into registering a new patient, doing what's called an eligibility request. And wait till you see that, Eric. That is such an exciting feature that nobody has that I know of but us. Show them there from this screenshot what it's about.
All we got to do is click that button where it gets us to this portion right here where it says to check eligibility. And the way that I like to talk about this, there's 2 ways to get the patient demographics in there, which is the patient information. You can physically type it in and then go check eligibility, or you can do it this way. Let's check eligibility first. And as you can see here, we can input the subscriber's ID right there and click on lookup. And what's going to come up after that is the actual information directly from the insurance company, as that you can see this coming up right here. And then once you have this information, we can click that button where it says create chart, and then create a patient chart having the exact information as it is with the insurance company. This will help us ensure.
Yeah, it does not get any more leading edge technology than what you're looking at right here, folks.
Exactly. And this is going to help, remember that term, revenue recovery. This is one of the first areas that we can show that doctor, this is how we're going to help you recover the revenue that is owed to you, just by simply doing this little piece right here.
Yeah. So this is what you will be working in most of the time. The doctor and their staff are actually in the EMRX system, assuming that they don't have an electronic medical record system, and you include this in your services to them. They have access to this 24/7 from any computer device. And Eric, we're showing it here on a desktop computer screen, but it actually runs terrific on the iPad.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, it's made with big buttons there, so you can just touch it with your fingers.
And people ask, will it fit on the iPad? It fits completely on the iPad. It's very native to the iPad, as you can see there on this screenshot there. It's not a watered down version of an electronic medical record system.
Full blown.
This is very native.
Yeah, this is not an app or some websites are designed to run specifically on a cell phone, for example, or an iPad. No, this is the actual cloud-based system running on the iPad through a browser, just like you would run any other website.
Well, I want to address one thing while we've got this up here, and as you're going to this next screen, Tanya asked, is the system set up for ICD-10 when it comes out?
Good timing, yeah. There it is.
Very good timing. You can see that the buttons right there. Matter of fact, there are other new buttons that are already set up there for ICD-10, so that portion is taken care of. So we're ready for all of that.
Yes, in fact, that was supposed to come into effect October 1st of this year. It's been put off to October 1st of next year. But, folks, we've been ready with that for what, Eric, at least the last 9 or 10 months.
Correct.
All the ICD-10 codes are already in there. In fact, you can help your doctor figure out what the new codes should be. Now, for those of you, let's interpret this for most people, Eric. Codes is what scares most people.
Right.
Coding. They think they have to go to a coding school and memorize all these codes and everything. Look, with ours, you can see we've hit this ICD-9 search button here, and look, here are the codes right here that just came up with the word fracture in them. It can't get any simpler than this for looking up things and helping the doctor decide on what the right code is. So it's all built in there, and of course the ICD-10's in there as well.
Matter of fact, we can actually show you a demonstration of it ourselves to really demonstrate how easy everything works here. And the other thing, again, we brought into the play here is the clearinghouse. And again, the clearinghouse is nothing more than the portal, basically, that gives us direct access to the insurance companies, as you can see here. So, you know, what it does, it intercepts any claims that might have any errors. So if there's an error, when you go to process your claim, it's going to let you know, hey, you might have a rejected claim, so before you send it out and not get paid, let's fix it internally. So our clearinghouse will catch those areas first. It'll prompt you then to make that correction before you submit that to the payers. And then once your claim passes through the clearinghouse, it also allows you to go ahead and proceed that to the payer. This provides you, and understand, a very unique difference in the market that other billing company services just simply don't have. And this will help you lower the doctor's rejections, so that means the rejection of any of their claims, and expedite their reimbursements back to the doctor.
Yeah, so Eric, I wish we had time to go into more detail, but folks, just ask your ABS rep if that wasn't clear about clearinghouses. But just trust us, it's all built into our system, and that's why we do such a terrific job behind the scenes. Now, this is the least talked about thing probably, and yet it's one of the most fascinating things once you actually see it in real life operation. The patient portal built into our system. The doctor can give access to his patients so that they can go in with a login, as you can see here on this screenshot, to go in and actually put in everything they need. They can track everything in here.
They can do it. You can see there they can request an appointment. They can request medical or their medicines refills. You can go in here. We're going to show you an example real quickly about going into your medical record and actually updating allergies. So if you go ahead and click on it again, Patrick, it'll kind of take us to this little allergy page. And you can see right over there where it says a little plus sign, it says add allergy. You would click on that, add the allergy that you might add, or whether it's allergies or immunizations or anything in the medical history or the medications. It gives you that button to actually add that in there. Once you add that information in there, it's going directly into your medical chart, your electronic medical chart in there. Nobody has to get it on a PDF like this and then have to retype it in there.
To them, yeah.
Yeah, it goes directly into there, and that's the seamlessness of our system.
I asked for my medical records from one of my doctors the other day, and they sent it by snail mail. Literally, they duplicated pieces of paper and destroyed some trees and then mailed it to me. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so Eric, you mentioned earlier the demo. Let's explain what that's all about.
Exactly. This is what we'd like you to do. If you haven't had the opportunity to schedule a demo with us, be sure to do that. If you haven't seen this in motion, this is the best way that we can actually give you something tangible outside of showing you what's on our website and what's on the virtual brochure. This is where we kind of take you on a tour to show you exactly the demonstration that we're going to give to your potential doctor. And so this is your time to ask questions about the system. Does it do this? But it also demonstrates to you our support to you. So when you have a potential doctor that you're looking to get as a client, we're taking them through the same exact thing. So again, if you haven't scheduled a demo with us, be sure to get with your ABS rep and get that scheduled.
Yeah, so we put this guarantee on the screen just about every webinar because we want people to know that it's for real. We have this in writing. It's in the agreement that you sign when you become a licensee, and it says basically if at the end of the training workshop, for any reason you don't think this business is right for you. See, there's no weasel words in this, is there?
No.
This has to be right for you. You're the only one that can decide that. just tell any staff member, and they'll arrange for you to receive a full refund of your license fee. Now, folks, people ask me, how in the world can you do that? Let people come to your training, be there the whole week, and not after the first day, not after the second day, but any time during the week. They don't like it. They just ask for their money back. Well, because it just doesn't happen, does it, Eric?
No.
I mean, it's so rare that we can count it on one hand in the last 20 years.
Right.
So, folks, we're for real. The only way you'll know for real is you get down here to this training, and we got one coming up in August that you just need to get to. So, Eric, as we address some of the questions, why don't we, I'll put up there, well, let's see, one other thing here. Oh, yeah, there's a couple other things before we get to the training.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about the blog. I want to share with you a couple of things. We just, the information that if you want to find out about more of the webinars that we've done in the past, also any articles or anything, go to our absystems.com, look under blogs or under news, and you'll find blogs there, and that's where you'll find it. So absystems.com/blog. Now, one of the things that Patrick mentioned to you earlier in the webinar is that we will give you a copy of those statistics that we were talking about. So if you want a copy of that, here's this. You can see it right here, and you can see it's healthcare IT news and healthcare finance news, and it's underneath their ICD-10 watch, basically. But underneath here is where we got those statistics. So if you want a copy of this, simply ask your ABS rep for a copy of this, and we'll shoot you an email with that in there. Great information for you to help, because Patrick, we get several people ask, well, what about market research? What about market research? This is the best thing that we can offer you for that. Again, if you want to follow us on Twitter, our Twitter handle is @ABSystems. So you can certainly do that. And then I think
Eric is asking, how do we find out who our ABS rep is? Well, it's probably the person who sent them the email, right, to invite them to this webinar.
Exactly. That would be any of us here that if you got an email from us to say, hey, would you like to attend this webinar, just get with them. Or if you just don't know, just call our 800 number. We'll give that to you shortly. And then you can certainly ask Rhodey, and then she will certainly point you in the right direction.
Hey, Patrick, Entrepreneur magazine, they have another book here out called Start Your Own Medical Claims Billing Service. It's kind of a condensed version of what we, of course, are training people on, but it gives you a good overview of the business. The reason I point that out is because in the back of their book, in their resource section, they have us listed right here under business opportunities. There's one other company on the next page that you can't see here, but on the next page there's another company, and they're out of business. So we're the only company out there that's been around doing this for 20 years that's recommended through Entrepreneur magazine.
Exactly. And then, folks, we have a few screenshots here on our live training. And the reason we show this to you because we want to show you the dynamics of what happens in that training. It's not just you're going to sit down there for 8 hours, 8.5 hours a day, listening to a bunch of lectures. We have hands-on training with our system, iClaim and EMRX. We have time where you interact with one another. Certainly you have opportunities to hear from Patrick or one of the other trainers that we have that actually come into that training. So whether it's one of these people or whatever, these are all of our trainers that actually help us with our training.
And they're real licensees, by the way. They've come through the training themselves, most of them, 2 or 3 years ago, and then they got real successful in their business, and we invited them to help us with our training and our webinars. And so, yeah, these are all real people that you'll see during, some of our recorded webinars and, of course, live.
Absolutely.
There, the lady on the right of me, no, to the left of my picture, she will be there this August doing the training, along with Eric and myself, of course. So, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. August 11th through the 15th, folks, that's just right around the corner. And if you are looking to get into this business, you might want to go ahead and talk with us again if you've got any questions about that. Patrick, I think there's a couple of more questions that we could probably take here right before the top of the hour. It's just at 3:59, so we were able to squeeze a lot of that information in there.
We were. Now, somebody's asking here, Chandra is asking, could you please talk about the license fee and the training costs? Eric, it'd probably be better just to be pointing her back to her ABS rep for that. But basically, Chandra, there's a $25,000 investment in our training, our marketing materials, ongoing support and our ongoing training. That's called our licensing fee, and that covers our costs and getting you up and running in your business. But there's no other royalties. There's no ongoing costs. You'll never pay another dime to our company for the rest of your life, and you have lifetime support. So believe me, it's a bargain for what you can find out there in the business world today.
Exactly. And folks, if you want to give us a call here, there's Rhodey right there. Great picture of Rhodey. She's looking forward to hear from you. So Sid, if you don't know who your ABS rep, this is a young lady you're going to be talking to right here. Call Rhodey at 866-565-8413.